I've used the lectionary readings for today, except for the second one from 1 Peter chapter 2, because I wanted to preach about that. But it's not so much a preach, because we've got a shortened service, because we got an annual meeting, not an annual meeting, a meeting with a bishop, and I have to give way to bishops. Bow to them left, right and centre whenever I have to. Only if I have to, you understand. This reading is all about slaves. It's also about suffering, particularly suffering when you have done nothing wrong. Tom Wright translates this particular passage like this. Let slaves obey their masters with all respect, not only the good and kind ones, but also the unkind ones. What credit is it if you do something wrong and you are beaten and take it patiently? But if you do what is right, suffer for it, and bear it patiently, this is to your credit before God. So Peter goes on to explain why Jesus died, and refers to Isaiah chapter 53, that very well-known passage about Jesus dying for us. And he says Jesus left us a pattern for us to follow in the way in which we walk in the world. He says when Jesus was insulted, he didn't insult in return. When he suffered, he didn't threaten, but gave himself up to the one who judges justly. And this suffering of Jesus was for us all, that we might be free from our sins, be healed from their influence, and live for everything that is right. To live in righteousness is the phrase that's used. Healed, live for what is right, and being free. But of course today we grieve for Ukraine. The unthinkable has happened. What can we say of Putin? A despot? Mad? Power crazy? A man who no longer has feelings for his fellow human beings. His thinking and his behaviour is mind-blowingly awful. And what are the Ukrainians to do? What is the rest of the civilized nations to do? I remember quite some time ago looking up on the internet how you live with a narcissist. A husband, a wife, or a president. And the answer is to set very clear boundaries, so far and no further. And this is, of course, what NATO nations have done. Don't set foot on NATO territory, otherwise there will be very, very serious consequences. So far, but no further. But of course that doesn't help the people of Ukraine today or tomorrow. What are the people to do? Fight? Run? Or as I saw on TV once, confront a Russian tank by simply standing in front of it and say, kill me first. We return to Peter and slaves. Peter says, work through your suffering for the hands of an unjust and evil master. Or in this present day, in the case of a Russian president. But that is hard. Very hard. If it is any comfort, there is a real way in which Jesus' suffering and death has paved the way for us and them in Ukraine to endure the same. This doesn't mean abandon all opposition to evil and become entirely passive. It means that in a strange way, the sufferings of the Messiah are not only the means by which we ourselves are rescued from our own sin. It's more than that. These sufferings are the means, when they are extended to the life of all God's people throughout the world, and throughout all time are the means by which the world can be brought to a better place. So I say to you today, live a holy life, whatever befalls you, and we, with the people of the Ukraine and God's help, will help save the world.